people need to stop this, man. I'm tired of seeing the same old team. No, you tired of not seeing your team go. That's
How
all
do
that
you
is.
not make a run? That's all.
Yeah, that's all that is. I'm telling you now, all these teams that have won 3 and 4 and 5 championships in a decade, I guarantee you their fans have never said, man, I'm tired of going to the Super Bowl. I wish we wouldn't go. We just went. We just went for the past 2 years. We don't need to go back, man. I'm tired of this. No, you're not. You're just mad because your team is not going.
I almost feel like I need to do the whole old school 1960s news headline as a Tank was still getting his paperwork together. But I will just say, welcome to yet another edition of No Jazz, which also stands for Not Just Another Jazz Show. And of
Sports
course,
show.
right,
You said not just another. You said not just another jazz show.
we'll run the tape back. Yeah, we'll run the tape back. But again, not just another sports show. And I am your host, KD. And the guy you heard, to your right, is Tank. Oh, he's the resident. He's a real producer. You know what I'm saying? Making sure we get our words correct and everything. All right, Tank, say hello to the people.
Hey, what's up, peeps? What's going on?
What's going on? Yeah, we are still up and at 'em, rocking and rolling. And before we begin, we want to make sure you all make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. All at No Jazz Show. Excuse me, Instagram is noj.s.s.s. And then of course on X at No Jazz Show and TikTok at No Jazz Show. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, all of those things that we love to do on social media to show that everyone is engaged. And we thank you all for joining us and engaging with us as we bring you yet another episode. And for this episode, we're going to open right now and say congratulations to I'll start with this one because some people are still, ascending into their Hall of Fame career, but I'll start with this one. To the 2025 NFL Hall of Fame class, which will include cornerback Eric Allen, defensive end Jared Allen, Philadelphia Eagles for Eric, the Minnesota Vikings, Jared Allen. Did he play for the Raiders?
Yeah, Allen played. Allen's two Allens. Eric Allen played for the Raiders also.
Yeah, went to the Raiders. Okay, and then we have Antonio Gates coming into his own, the tight end class. We spoke of Antonio a few weeks ago, and
Yeah,
for me, headlining Sterling Sharpe has made it in, and I know there was a lot of tears. I want to see the video because I believe they
yeah.
had his brother introduced, come to the house and let him know that he had made it in. But I know that's going to be something special for that family
Mm-hmm.
come August. And on this NFL Honors Night, we have our new and latest. Let's get that on out of the way. NFL MVP, Mr. Josh Allen. Allen was kind of ruling the airwaves tonight, wasn't it?
I'm fine with him winning. I love running back, so I was pulling for Barkley, but with Allen winning, I have no issue with it, none whatsoever, because he did more with less than anybody else.
You know what? I've been hearing that a lot, and I want to get to that on the back end of his
Yeah.
thing. But right now, let's go back, and what I'm talking about is more with less. But right now, let's go back to the four guys who made it into the Hall of Fame, and I want to start with Sterling. everyone knows that this guy, everyone from our generation definitely knows that this guy is more than Shannon Sharpe's brother. If anything, and you new generation people might know him as Uncle Shay Shay, etc. Shannon Sharpe from TV, ESPN, now, etc. Or co-hosting with Skip Bayless. But this is the younger brother of Sterling Sharpe, and a lot of people don't realize, man, there were four forces,
Yeah.
in the NFC that was swapping places
A receiver, yeah.
at receiver, and that was Jerry Rice, Herman Moore, Michael Irvin, and Sterling Sharpe. Then you dwindle down in there, and you get some bad moon risings in
Then you
there.
got CC. You got
Chris,
Chris was yeah.
Chris was. This was during Shannon's heyday. This was Chris trying to figure life out with the Eagles, but he was very talented, because I believe Chris came on after he got hurt, and because he had his most productive time when he put on that Vikings uniform. But I do remember CC.
Yeah, because he came out in 89.
Yeah, he was. This was
88.
his Eagles era, and those guys kind of were overshadowed.
They overlapped.
Yeah. Due to off the field issues. That's not to say Chris wasn't that guy. It was just it took a while, But in that time frame, Sterling Sharpe had numbers that were mirroring Jerry Rice. Sterling Sharpe probably would have had 4 or 5. I'm going to say just football years, if he doesn't get hurt. With Brett Favre, he would have had Brett Favre on the front end.
Yeah.
I believe Robert Brooks was the one came in, got on the back end. But in our era, I'm gonna tell you one thing we did remember. There were 2 teams that had, coincidentally, there were 2 teams where if you're young, you said, man, those wide receivers got some arms. That was Green Bay and Denver. Those wide receivers had guns, like no other wide receivers had like guns. And so I just want to tell you, Sterling Sharpe was the man who started the guns on a wide receiver era. Like he was that guy. Throw that ball 80 yards up the field. He was that man. But go ahead, Tank.
Yeah, because Sterling was because they ran the run and shoot at South Carolina, and he was for those who are of a certain age, you remember we used to call them wing backs, not slot backs, or not line. When they lined up in the slot, they were wing backs. He played wing back when he was at South Carolina, and Sterling ran like and was built like a tailback.
Right.
Yeah. No, he was probably the most physically imposing wide receiver from his yokeness that we'd seen in the league until what's the dude named David Boston came into the league.
Right.
Yeah.
But Sterling Sharpe was probably a Terrell Davis.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and he looked like he looked like a tailback. Sterling was the one who, if you didn't say Jerry was the best in the league at the time, you said Sterling.
Absolutely.
And Sterling did it without a lot of help, without a lot of fanfare, because he just didn't talk. This is going to be, other than when he was on Shannon's podcast earlier last year, the most that you're going to have heard him speak is going to be at his Hall of Fame induction speech, outside of when he was at ESPN, because he had to talk. But he was silent. Sterling didn't do a lot of talking, but he did a whole lot of damn catching.
And I'm talking about like real. This is not knocking the GOAT, Jerry Rice. But the West Coast offense, slot, catch it 8 yards and go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But Sterling, you can throw that thing 60.
And he's gonna get it.
And it's gonna drop in that basket and he's gonna go get it. Like he was another dude. Herman Moore was big target.
Tall and lanky.
Tall, lanky, big target. Michael Irvin was in that era. If you needed to put him somewhere, it's 3rd and 8 possession guy. I'm going.
He, like you said, hey, I go across the middle.
I go across the middle. So we were really looking at, okay, what is the future going to be? Because we had 4 different facets of receiver that were dynamic, and they were just swapping in and out of the Pro Bowl every year, swapping in and out of all the pros every year, swapping, and it was like, amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The thing that's always got me about Sterling, when people say, man, if his career had been longer, and we know the average NFL career is 2-point-something years. Sterling played 8. And sometimes when I hear people talk about the guy didn't play long enough for something, it's like, you did 8 years. That's a long that's a lot of time to be on the field and be a starter. Now, so when you start looking at guys playing 10, 12, 13 plus years, that's an anomaly. If you get 8 years, you've had a long career and you've probably put up numbers. He averaged over 1,000 a year. I never thought that his career being cut short should have held him out, because he was Hall of Fame caliber during his career.
It was a false narrative. It's why I'm gonna tell you something. It's why we have No Jazz. It's why we have Not Just Another Sports Show, because we are of that generation, and we are victims of people who narrate it wrong, and they narrate it with the words that they want to narrate. Because when you say someone's career is cut short, you're sending the false pretense of Gale Sayers, who is in the Hall of Fame. You're sending the false pretense of what could have been. Yes, we do have what could have been.
A bowl would be a great example.
Data. We do have 8 years of data that this man was. You look at a lot of people's 8 years. This man was dynamic. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is about Sterling is he didn't win championships.
Yeah, and the fact that he never has put himself out there to be yapping and all this, where he stays in the public eye, and people say, man, Sterling needs to get in there, because there's some guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and I think it's more so because they've been out there and they're in the media all the time. And
he didn't wear his bravado like Shannon does.
Yeah.
The only one of those 4 who had a bravado like that was Michael Irvin.
Yeah. And he backed it up. So I'm glad to see Sterling's finally in.
I'm glad to see him in too, man. Like that whole, I am the only Hall of Fame NFL player in my family, and I'm the second best football player in my family. I love that line by Shannon, but that's no more. Sterling Sharpe is in the Hall of Fame now. A guy for whom probably made it in the Hall of Fame because of the battles he had with Michael Irvin is Eric Allen. Tall, lanky, always action. He was on those
Buddy Ryan teams in Philly.
But on those Buddy Ryan teams and those great defenses, this is the era, and this is why I say this to Philly as you embark on attempting to win another Super Bowl this Sunday. You've always fielded the best teams. Let's be real. You had the best team. You had the best team when you all played the Raiders in '81, I believe. With Jim Plunkett. You had the best team. You had the best team when McNabb was out there puking on the field, because T.O. had a heck of a game. You had the best game. You had the best team when the Buccaneers beat you in the NFC Championship. Like you've always had those defenses. We're talking Eric Allen was on the defense with Reggie White and Jerome
Reggie,
and Seth Joyner. Like
and Dirty Waters.
Like let's stop. Let's stop. These guys were very prolific. So Eric Allen, shout out to him, man. He always, as a Dallas fan, I remember that guy. He brought me troubles. man, he was something special.
Yeah, and Eric Allen, the thing that he did that I really like, and that's why I look for in the corner, he got the ball. He picked the ball off. He didn't play 15 years and end up with 32 interceptions. He got 54. He was snagging it.
He was
And
snagging, ball hawking.
truthfully, even though he doesn't have any championships, but my thing with him, because over the years I've gone back and forth. Should he be or shouldn't he be? Because because we've talked before. If you got to debate it, maybe you're not. But I think his canvas of work stands up against the other corners that we've got in the league. And one who I would compare him to would be Ty Law.
Absolutely.
He did everything that Ty Law did. I do believe that he really and truly belongs in the Hall of Fame. And this is the first class that I'm like, maybe I might be being a little hyperbolic, but in about 10 years that I've been like, okay, I can ride with these guys. And I'm glad, and we'll get into the other two after we finish with Allen. I'm glad that this time they left it at 4 and then go start just putting guys in just because, well, we need some people to fill in space. You mess around and we got Felipe Sparks going in. Well,
right.
what happened? Man, we needed some more TV time. No, I'm glad that they gave it to guys who did enough that you can say, okay, you belong. And remember earlier last year, we were talking about Hall of Fame. What's the criteria? We came up with our own criteria. And Allen is borderline there, or probably makes it. No, do you make it out of your organization's top 5 to ever play in order to get in? Or if you want to put Allen, does he make it out of the top 5 DBs that ever played in Philly, particularly? Yes, he does. So I think that they did a good job with Allen. And
even with the core, that they're giving a name to now, he's still they still have something to rise up to get there. Now, let's go and take that same level of thing, because I believe you can top 5 the next Allen that I'm about to talk about, and that's Jared Allen, and with Alan Page, with the Vikings, and defensive tackle.
Alan Page, Carl Eller, John Randall.
So when you historically look at these guys, he fits the criteria just on the Vikings. So I can give you that. And then
he did it with the Chiefs too.
And then he did it with the Chiefs. And let's move on into Antonio Gates, who is arguably, and it's going to be a matter of for some, the storyline that probably pushes Kellen Winslow over the top of him. He probably has just more. He had that legendary game. I don't think Antonio has that one to go with along with his productivity. So when you say who was the best tight end to ever play on the Chargers, you kind of have to go.
He doesn't have a moment.
He doesn't have that moment, right? So you go into Kellen Winslow, but when you talk about the all-time Chargers offense, it probably going to end up being a 2 tight end set, and no one's going to be upset with you for doing it. It's going to look like Gronk and Gonzalez on New England, and no one's going to be upset with you doing it, because Antonio was a very bad man, absolutely bad man. And I'm saying that to say this looks like, just like Tank just brought up, you're glad they went with 4, because this is the class of, we can put these guys on the paperwork and we have to argue their numbers because they don't have the championships to back them up. They going straight numbers.
Oh man, that's good. I have to look it up. This might be the first time in 5 or 6 years that we have no Super Bowl winners going into the Hall.
Eli making it in would have been, his championships helped him make it in, but his data don't go. Eli's data don't go with So, and that brings me back to the point you were making as far as the criteria is concerned. As far as what may have taken Sterling so long. I don't know how long it took Jared, Eric, and Antonio.
It's taken both. They were all. Sterling was coming in on his senior status, and so was and Jared. He's been out the game for what, about 10 years, I think.
So he might have
About
been
10 years.
yeah.
So yeah.
So him and Eric might have been pushing senior status.
Yeah, getting up there.
You're getting up there. So as you can see, there is an area. But now as you go to Canton, and as they say, the buses whisper to each other when the lights go off. The buses can now I'm about to throw you one. The buses can now whisper at night, and it'll probably be a loudmouth like Michael Irvin bus saying, "Okay, how about we play the Super Bowl winners with the numbers versus the non-Super Bowl winners with the numbers." Now, the non-Super Bowl winners numbers team. Who's your quarterback?
Who didn't get a ring?
That's a Hall of Famer.
I'm trying to think
That's crazy that you don't know.
I'm trying to think who didn't.
Marino is my quarterback.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking, how many guys didn't?
Marino, Jim Kelly.
Yeah. Marino be my guy.
Marino, your starting quarterback. Now, Sterling is in. So I got. Oh, that's tough. You get 3 wides. I'm probably gonna go. Ooh, that's tough, boy. Golly, that's tough. That's
Chris
tough.
Chris Carter's got to be one. Largent had. Yeah, Chris Carter's got to be. He didn't win one. He's a receiver that didn't win one.
I know that, but go ahead.
I think Andre Reed. And let's see, Reed, Carter. Who else did wide receiver without rings? This in the Super Bowl era. Man, who was? I had another one. Shoot, I might. You might have to say. You might have to.
So you just gonna not put T.O., Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, and Sterling Sharpe?
I didn't even think of that. I'm thinking back. I'm thinking back.
Come on, man.
Because I'm thinking way back. I'm thinking way back. I'm not thinking guys that come in the thing. Yeah. Those would be 3 good ones.
like Sterling. Like I said, and I'm not knocking Chris, but Larry ain't in there yet.
Man, that's a good. Ooh.
So Michael Irvin gonna argue. Well, we got me, Jerry, and
James Lofton might have to be in there for the ones that didn't get one.
That's a tough team now, boy. Who gonna
Charlie Joyner, old school. He would have to be in there.
Jerry and Michael on the win side.
Man, we got more who didn't get one
hold on.
Who did.
My bad. I'm lying. On the win side, you got Jerry, Irvin, and Starworth. Come on, let's play ball.
Yeah.
Let's play ball.
Irvin, Starworth. You got.
Let's play ball. You got Tyreek Hill. He ain't in there yet.
He ain't in there. Yeah. Man, it's a whole.
Who you quarterback?
We already said Marino.
Well, on
the winning.
Probably it's probably gonna be Montana. Brady ain't in.
My bias is gonna go with that Bradshaw.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you got both of them.
You still got Lynn Swan.
Yes,
you got Drew.
Yeah, and the point that's coming out is the criteria. Sometimes it can't be that you got a ring.
Exactly, and see
because
they got. You know who they got. You know who they got at running back. We're gonna do a 2 running back set. You know who they got.
Who didn't get one?
Yeah.
Or who did? Who didn't get one?
The who didn't do got some gangsters.
Yeah.
Where you gonna start?
OJ, you could go OJ, you go well, I'm going Dickerson. I'm going Dickerson, and I'm gonna go. See, I want to get an actual fullback to go also, but let's just say running back because these the type of talent these guys got, you ain't ask neither one of them to block. So it might be Dickerson.
The guy they gonna have in front of them.
Yeah, you could go Dickerson. You could go Earl Campbell. You could go. You could go OJ. You go Thurman.
Come on, man. You know who they gonna say.
Yeah, Barry. That's like a one of them things where you say, well, you gotta keep him out, but yeah.
Barry up next to those guys. Barry third on the depth chart. Me personally.
Yeah. It's gonna be they say Barry and shoot those four. There's a whole lot of folks who ain't got no jury, but they
a whole lot of folks who ain't got no jury, and they gonna be lining up against probably Emmett, Franco, Roger Craig. Well, Roger ain't.
Nope, Roger ain't there.
Walter. Oh
Walter.
my goodness, Walter still got one ring. Shoot, they gonna hey somebody gonna tell me
John Riggins.
That's what I'm
gonna say. John Riggins.
In the fourth quarter, they gonna say we gonna throw John and Larry at you.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna throw John and Larry Zonk at you. That's
so the point, so you can't. Yeah. Rings has to be like the final thing if you nitpicking. It can't be the first thing unless you got a bunch of them.
Exactly. And I was bringing up, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was bringing up the ring lineup to show you. Look at who you gotta be on the ring side. To beat the no ring side, like the no ring side. The no ring side is the no ring side, like the no ring side depth chart at offensive line might just be ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. You got Will Shields, you got Willie Roaf, you got Dwight Stevenson, you got Baselli, you got Anthony Munoz.
You got Munoz.
I mean,
what the ring side will probably be is Larry Allen, Orlando Pace,
Mike Webster,
Larry Little,
and
anybody on the Hogs.
Yeah,
who on the Hogs
probably didn't make it.
What's his name? I know his name.
To make Boston. Oh, wait a minute. It's two that we got to put on there. They played together. Munchak and Matthews.
Munchak
no rings.
On the no ring side.
Yeah.
I believe you got and you spoke of him a few weeks back. Paul Gruber.
Yeah, he's not in though.
Oh, Gruber ain't in with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Okay. No ring side.
The more you look at it, you have to say, okay, if we gonna make a deciding determination on two guys.
That wide receiver core is crazy.
Yeah, you got to say, okay, we're gonna put this guy in only over this guy, and they played the same position, or even if they didn't because he's got a ring. That's like a deterrent. That should be the first thing, especially if you just got one. And I don't mean that lightly when I say just got one. You know what I mean.
And I want you all to really understand. That's why Tank is so adamant about his criteria on Hall of Fame. I really want y'all to understand, and putting anybody in there. I want y'all to really understand that we're starting Marino, but it's a possibility that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson could be on that side on that team. You know, who else?
One that we didn't say as far as quarterback who didn't get one, Warren Moon. And it's Black History Month. How dare we?
Oh my Lord. How dare we? Warren Bus might be in there like, oh, I got a great cup.
Yeah, I got a few of them, yeah.
I got a few of them. You know, so you have to break that. You have to break them teams down, man. Like that no ring team.
Yeah. So yeah, so like I said, but like Gates, I just like I mentioned before, I just when I think of tight ends and all, for maybe because he doesn't have any jury, he just or maybe I didn't watch him as much as some of the others, but I just Gate he never comes up to me. But the fact that he didn't play football until he got to the NFL because he was a basketball player, and for what he accomplished, I mean that boosts him up a few notches. I mean, to be able to go down as one of the best to ever play a position, and you didn't play it in high school, you didn't play it in college. You know, well, I'm not gonna get drafted to the NBA. Let me see how this football thing works.
Yeah. I believe he hadn't played since high school. I believe he got a little.
Yeah,
I believe he got a little bit of reps in. All of them,
yeah,
all of them. Then got.
yeah.
I remember looking that up during that argument. Now, moving right along, since we're speaking of Super Bowls, it is coming up Sunday, and at the end of the game, there is always someone who goes to Disney World. Because the guy who goes to Disney World is he all? It's the guy who goes to Disney World and an MVP now, right? Because it used to be.
Yeah, if you got the MVP, you were doing the Disney, but they stopped that. They
And
would not stop it, but I remember the first time somebody went to Disney World or announced they were going to Disney World but didn't get the MVP. It was when Jerry Rice won the MVP, but Montana got to say I'm
Montana,
going to Disney
Montana,
World.
Montana
Yeah,
had already been contacted by Disney and
yeah,
said we want you to go.
yeah.
And so, but having said that, that was a great point because, and I bring that up because that is when, and this is kind of crazy to think that, and I believe that we're doing the Super Bowl when John Taylor could have gotten the MVP, but that was the first time they had come across the unlikely. I ain't gonna say first time, but an unlikely
Mm-hmm.
MVP. And so there have been some unlikely MVPs, Super Bowl MVPs throughout history. And I just want you to give me yours. Then segue that into who could find himself in some situational football to be the MVP this coming Sunday.
Man, man, it's a few that are unlikely, but there were some who were. I'm gonna go with this guy here because there were some who won, but they had a name. They had some like uh Harvey Martin. He won it, but he was a big name and he put up over 100 sacks. There's some but for me, the most unlikely MVP it's got to be Larry Brown. You know, he of the gift wrap interceptions. I mean, all he had to do was just stand there and catch the pass like he was a receiver. And who was Dion said, "Hey, I remember on the side they showed afterwards on the sideline Dion after Brown got his first pick, he said, hey, dog, I'll vote for you. You get you another. I'll vote for you MVP." But I think Larry Brown is probably the most. Brown was probably the most unlikely MVP ever because he was just a marginal player who almost got cut as a late round draft pick from Jimmy Johnson because he had a family member who got sick, and you know how Jimmy was. Jimmy like, hey, if you ain't bleeding or dead, you need to be here. He went on, left. I think it was a 12th round pick. He went home, took care of family, which is admirable, and came back and had the scratch and claw and wound up being the starter for the Cowboys, even though he was really just camp bait. I think he was the most unlikely MVP because nobody, unless you were a Dallas fan or a football junkie, nobody knew who Larry Allen was.
Larry Brown. Now,
Larry Brown.
what you got to do, what you got to do and understand is Dion Prime was holding up one side of the field,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to gauge the impact if you're not a football
Mm-hmm.
analyst purist. It's very hard to gauge the impact of what Dion was doing to say we know we can't beat you, so let's go try to beat Brown. And Brown did his job.
Yeah.
So he is an unlikely MVP that was put in a position. If you shut this down because we coming at you,
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna end up looking like the most valuable player at this time. Now, before you go into that, I'm gonna give mine, and mine will be, because this is very interesting. Dexter Jackson in 2000,
Yeah.
because Dexter's situation is he was up against. Let me tell you what Dexter was up against. Dexter was up against a unit that should have gotten the MVP as a unit. There were 6 interceptions that day. Dexter
And a
got
couple
2.
of TDs.
Yeah, and a couple of pick sixes.
Pick sixes. Mm-hmm.
Dexter got 2, no pick sixes. Derrick Brooks got 2 with a game-winning pick 6. And 26, what was 26's name? He got 2 with a pick 6. I got to look at that roster. Who's the MVP? And so they said he got it started. Let's give it to him.
Yeah. Didn't Dexter go to Florida State?
FSU safety. FSU safety. And so I got to look up my boy name, because that's my boy. That was he was my, because I really thought they were going to give it to Derrick because he had done enough for them to say, well, he's anchoring this defense that's just shutting them down, that they scored 21 of these points, and we should ride with him. But all in all, it's just one of those. Hold on, wait a minute. I know this is not right. His name in here somewhere. But anyway, we'll find his name. But at any rate, it's just he was my unlikely one in 2002. I mean, first 2 drives out the gate.
Yeah.
6. So now you go. Who would be your unlikely one coming up Sunday?
Xavier Worthy. Because he's been a role player basically, and he's not. Hollywood Brown is back, and so we'll see what he does. But I think Xavier Worthy would be an unlikely MVP because you look at him. Everyone knows he can fly, and if you do get him the ball and have some space, something special could happen. I don't think he's gonna get it, but I think that this could be a game where they say that Xavier hit that 4-2 on him. We're gonna unleash it. We're gonna unleash it for real today. We got you to give us back what Tyreek Hill gave us. Today is the day. I wouldn't be surprised if he did catch a 2 or 3 bombs. So yeah, Worthy is my unlikely MVP.
I have 2 unlikely MVPs on both sides of the ball, and both of them have shown me that uncanny ability to get open. And it's crazy how one used to be a big name in the NFL. Now it's kind of diminished, and so you're gonna have to be like, oh yeah, that's right. And one is not a big name because of acquisitions, but he was like the biggest name in college for 1 year. And I'm going to go with Devontae Smith and DeAndre Hopkins, because these are guys, if they get warm, they can end up with 6, 7 catches in bunches that just keep drives going. And I've seen them do it. And if the game gets to a point where, okay, we're playing safe, 3rd downs needed here, 3rd downs needed there. And I'm not talking about giving it to him on the dynamic of having one of those crazy games like T.O. had.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this game might come down to, we need you guys to make these plays, because we've had 2 weeks to prepare. AJ is not going to beat us. We are not going to allow you all to get first and 10, 8 yards to end up with tush push issues. We're trying to stop you on 1st down, 2nd down. We need you in 3rd down. You're not about to beat us down the field tush pushing all day long. I'm sorry. I think these defensive dynamics are you're not going to beat us. It's going to be Rice, and I mean not Rice, but Worthy.
Not Rice.
Not Rashid Rice, but Worthy. It's going to be, and we're going to key on him, and he's too young, because we feel like we have the DBs to body him. But down the line, it's going to take one of your Juju, McSchuster, DeAndre Hopkins to get one of our younger DBs in some trouble. I see it like might be one of those games. Saquon, we're not gonna let you beat us.
By the way, you mentioned Rashid Rice. How sick does he have to be right now?
Well, he was on the roster at the beginning of the year, so he's gonna have to deal with I didn't play in the game if we win it, but I still get a ring.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's just
he played last year, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And then he had that situation. So yeah, he still will. He'll still tell his kids if they win, I got 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So he's not that upset. He's not that upset. But yeah, those are my unlikelies. Now,
It's funny. It sounds funny for you to say DeAndre Smith. I mean Dante Smith to say that not Hopkins, but
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith to say that he is your unlikely MVP because because of what he had coming out of college and how he's been
Yeah.
a very good receiver since he got to the league. But that just tells you the depth of what they got going on in Philly. That man, I was drafted as a number 1 receiver, and I am a number 1, but I'm unlikely to be. And everything about him says, hey, you should be able to get one, be one. But at the same time, everything says that he probably wanted to get one. It would be a surprise for him to get one.
Who'd you mention earlier? He's in a Harvey Martin, situation because Harvey Martin had to make those plays because Randy White and them was doing their job.
Yeah.
So this is designed to get you in the backfield. So Ed Jones, you're doing your job. Like we're gonna handle these teams.
Mm-hmm.
You're so good, you 4th down the chart. Like the expectation. The expectation is for Saquon to get a lot of touches. It would be stupid if he doesn't. It's almost crazy to believe that Jalen Hurts can distribute the ball and have Smith with 6 or 7 receptions, and they still don't say, well, Jalen got him the ball, and if he throws over a certain amount of balls, it's going to go to Jalen.
Right.
He's 4th easily. My mindset was Dallas Goedert, but he doesn't.
If somebody put a couple of bucks down on Goddard to win the MVP and he wins, they might be retired. You could probably retire after that.
Hey, or at least be able to buy the Jacksonville Jaguar owners lot. I mean, yacht that's sitting out on the riverbank.
Yeah,
man, that boy, that would be a heck of a bet with $10 down. I know the odds of that are crazy. So yeah, remember what we're saying, man, and maybe some of y'all will take our advice, odds makers, as you go along and bet this weekend on your favorite games. Now, moving right along, we were talking about Kansas City winning. We're not going to talk about the fact that they will be, because they're already stepping into dynasty territory.
Mm-hmm.
And but we're seeing that people are like, hey, you're cheating for Patrick. You're doing this for this. Taylor Swift is up in the stands. You're making it all about this. When the truth of the matter is, there's just people who don't like to see the same team winning all the time. So, to your question, and we're asking the audience as well, why do people have this disdain for dynastic? Is that the way you said?
Dynastic, yeah.
Dynastic teams. What's wrong with them?
I'm gonna tell you in a nutshell, because I had this long monologue for it, but I'm just gonna put it succinctly. People love dynastic teams.
They do.
They do. When it's their team. The problem people have with dynastic teams is it's not your team winning. That's why you don't like them. If everybody that's a Patriots fan, they had no problem with going to the Super Bowl multiple, all like that. Everybody who was a Cowboys fan in the 90s, they didn't have no problem with, man, here we go. It's going to be our third ring.
I'm not hating now.
Yeah, man, it's going to be our third. Man, if we go back, if we win this one, it's going to be our third time winning in 4 years, man. I'm tired of this. You don't like dynastic teams because it's not your damn team. if it's your team winning, you want them to win every damn year. So
I bet
get off of
they
this.
were mad at. I bet the AFC team were mad at Buffalo for going 4 years straight. Just going
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Buffalo fans, hey, we're gonna go back third year in a row. We're gonna go back fourth year in a row just to piss y'all off. But we love the fact that our team is making it. Your team not making it. That's why people have a problem with it, because my team is not winning. So all this I don't like when the same team winning over and over again. Stop that BS. You just don't like it because it's not your team.
Not suddenly they cheating for you. Like
Yeah.
I remember around 95 that year going. They was cheating
Mm-hmm.
for us too. They were cheating for us. They weren't cheating for us, but that's what
Yeah.
the that what
Yeah. That's what they say. Yeah. You can't. So
pretty
people
sure they,
need to.
I'm pretty sure they were cheating for the Steelers 77, 78, 79. I'm pretty sure that's what they
Yeah.
were
I
saying.
mean, people need to stop this, man. I'm tired of seeing the same old team. No, you tired of not seeing your team go. That's
How
all
do you
that is.
not make a run? That's all.
Yeah, that's all that is. I'm telling you now, all these teams that have won 3 and 4 and 5 championships in a decade, I guarantee you their fans have never said, man, I'm tired of going to the Super Bowl. I wish we wouldn't go. We just went. We just went for the past 2 years. We don't need to go back, man. I'm tired of this. No, you're not. You're just mad because your team is not going.
Let
So
me tell you.
yes.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna flip that a little bit, because if you're looking at this podcast, you are looking at two fans who are experienced with dynasties. We're experienced with it, so we can speak on it, and we've lived through them. You know, I remember Pittsburgh as a young boy. I remember my college years with the Cowboys. I remember, and then as an adulthood, I remember the Patriots, and now more into adulthood, I'm witnessing Kansas City. It's something that the NFL every so often cycles into. Here's my thing though. I wish you all would learn to hate those dynasties when they don't win in a while. You know, like let's not act like '87 was that far from 1991, and Washington wasn't like making
Yeah.
playoff runs. I'm not gonna say they was a dynasty, but geez, you know, y'all wasn't dogging out the Redskins and Commanders like that. Let's not act like before the undefeated season, the Miami Dolphins weren't in the Super Bowl and they were upset with the losses, which motivated them to go get the win and go undefeated. Let's not act like even the season before that and the season after that, they weren't playing good ball. But I guess they didn't put the dynasty name on them, but they were good in
Yeah.
40 years. No one was mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not act like I think that championship was 78 or 82.
For
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh won in 74 season, 75, 78, 79,
And
2005,
well, no,
2008. Yeah.
79. Let's not act like it wasn't 16 years before they got back in 1995. And then let's not act like it went 2000. Like no one has dealt with being a dynasty once, and now they're failing to make it back like us. I don't even dog Buffalo out like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like y'all hate dynasties, but y'all hate Cowboys. Like, good gosh. And like,
Yeah. And for me,
just recently, Philadelphia had to make it to the no. I'm sorry. Washington had to finally come
yeah.
along and make it to put us in the drought as the
Mm-hmm.
long. That was a long time.
Yep. Personally, I like dynasties. I prefer the dynasty to be my team, but I do like the fact that when you got somebody a team that steps up and is able to keep winning over and over again. You know, because
Heavy.
I don't want to see a new champion every year. Dang man, can't is somebody able to go back to back? Hey, can somebody get to 3? You know, to show that you are that team. Because I'm telling you now, the Jets, they made it, and it was great for them to make it. but they ain't sniffed nothing since. I'll guarantee you that they are looking forward to the day that's not going to happen, that they ever get back and they start winning. And you want to have dynasties because that gives everybody else something to strive for.
Right.
And on your point, as far as the 49ers, well, as far as not getting mad
49ers
at
that
the
too.
49ers team that, hey, they didn't go back for a while.
They ain't go back for
But
a
nobody, yeah, nobody was like, man, we can't stand them. It's like, if you don't go back,
while. It's been so like get that.
but the reason that people feel like that about y'all is because y'all literally do this our year when y'all,
Everybody does that.
yeah, but y'all do it. I mean, and
Oh no.
y'all believe it. Y'all believe it with no,
Uh,
y'all do it with the evidence of nothing seen.
let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. And we're not going to talk about the Cowboys, but we have a very large fan base.
Yeah,
Our fan base is like walking through New York, Times Square. You're always gonna bump into somebody, right? Just what it is. Somebody else's fan base is like being in a country town and you driving down the street. You're gonna go a few blocks before you bump into somebody's shoulder. So everybody is saying it's our year. Everybody on all the teams. Everybody
yeah,
believes at 0-0 it's our year. But if you walking through Manhattan and you're hearing it's our year, boom, it's our year, boom, it's our year, boom, it's our year, boom. We're always saying it. Because it's a lot
yeah,
of us.
yeah.
That's all that
But y'all are fun to hate too. I mean, bottom line, y'all fun to hate. And
because it's a lot of us.
yeah, and as far as walking through a country town and finally bumping into somebody who said until this run for the Chiefs was like that.
Exactly.
Though
Until this
you didn't
run,
meet a Chiefs fan unless they were from Kansas City. Just like back in 05 when they went to the Super Bowl. If you didn't win, if you weren't from Seattle or Oregon, you weren't a Seattle fan. And I would tell people, look, if you weren't born there or somewhere or one of those surrounding states, you ain't have no business being no Seattle fan. None.
none, none, none. And as crazy as it sounds, it's still not as crazy as this sounds. It's still not as embarrassing to be a Cowboys fan as it is to admit you're a Jacksonville Jaguar, Minnesota Viking, Cincinnati Bengals. These people have fans outside of their cities, but you're not wearing a jersey like that. You're not. Your brotherhood ain't greeting you. He's not going to come around. It's not going to be
You getting
Green
laughed
Bay,
at.
Chicago, Pittsburgh.
You getting laughed at.
Exactly.
Why are you on that
If you're wearing
Jacksonville
a Kansas
jersey?
City, if you're wearing a Kansas City jersey right now, I'm probably gonna call you a bandwagon. You're no different than a Golden State Warrior to me. But at any rate, I use that little Golden State Warrior little nugget to talk about what's been going on this week in the NBA. We have a blockbuster trade, and it involved the 25-year-old Luka Doncic for the 32-year-old Anthony Davis, in a trade between the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot of Lakers fans are not liking it for the near future, but they see it, in the foreseeable future. A lot of Dallas fans are confused as to why you would get rid of 37 points for 25 points, 12 and 7. So it brings me to this for two questions. I'll start with this first question. With it being Super Bowl week, and I mean like leading up to Super Bowl week, it's usually your highest marketable media week, and it's the NBA trade deadline with Butler,
Yeah.
being traded to where did he go? Man, I just knew that. Hold on, let me see where he went. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at looking where he went.
They had a lot of trades this week too.
They had a lot of trades this week. Golden State. I
Which,
just mentioned Golden
yeah,
State. I
yeah,
have Golden State.
yeah.
He playing with Steph. So at any rate, who led the media this week? The NBA or the NFL? Who you think did their due diligence to keep their name ringing and the cash registers jingling?
Well, we know the NFL is king, but I think this week, because there are a lot of people who are down on this matchup for whatever reason. Yeah, well, we know why, but down
Kansas
on this
City.
matchup, yeah,
Right.
they're down on the matchup. They're down on basically that Kansas City is in it. But I think that the NBA with Dunker getting traded and now Butler today, I think I think they won this week in the media. And the reason I say that is because you got one of the best defensive players in the NFL who came out and said, "Hey, I want to be traded out of this dumpster fire called Cleveland."
Absolutely.
Miles Garrett said that, and I'm exaggerating what he said, but it's basically what he said, and it didn't gain any real traction. Also, the fact that he said it and the free agency and all that, they hadn't started yet. So it's really just him just talking. And next thing you know, next year he could be right back there in Cleveland. So, it's not, if he were to mention that when free agency is starting, it might have a little more traction. But the NBA, that trade, and I know you good at coming up with conspiracy theories. I mean, that trade could be something where they say, "Hey, we're gonna use this. We're gonna we're gonna jump we're gonna jump hijack this media frenzy that going on in the NFL for the Super Bowl and get people really interested in the NBA right now because everybody's talking about it because everybody's talking about that trade and a young guy scoring a lot of points and he's traded. And it's not like he was traded to a team that's looked at as saying, okay, they're gonna win the championship.
Look at let's look at the strategy based on what you said, and we're gonna get into the second part of the question. First of all, I want to say this about that trade from a business standpoint. We got a 270-pound guy who can't keep it off. That's looking for max money, 325 million, and the team basically said, "I just don't feel comfortable giving you that money." I also feel like the NBA itself, unlike the NFL, since we're talking about the both of them, the NFL will has never made the mistake of allowing one of their players to be bigger than the shield, and I believe that's what the NBA is attempting to get back at this point in time, and that is we want to put a cap on a lot of this ego tripping because we're about 10 years away from the first $1 billion NBA player. We're probably about 15 or so away from the first $1 billion NFL player, which is probably going to be a quarterback. You know, and who knows how the market's going to shift? I might be wrong. I'm just estimating. But the point is, the numbers are getting crazy and crazier, and you still have kids coming out with NIL money that are going to be negotiating off of NIL money. So, and I'm not saying NIL has anything to do with it, but we kind of got to get it under control. We kind of got to get, hey, you're always going to have teams running strategy to where I'm going to overpay my guy who's doesn't have the name, he's not in the market, and he doesn't have the numbers like your guy has. It's just comparable. So you're gonna end up overpaying your guy, and then you're not going to have a depth chart. And it usually happens within the division. And this is basketball or football, in order to put you in a position to have us gang around on you, and you can't get under the cap, or you having cap issues for the next 6 years. Because you're going to overpay a guy for nothing, a la paying Jalen Hurts early off of a
Yeah.
Super Bowl, and you end up getting that too much money, and you shouldn't have. Things like that. And so, you don't want your players coming to you in the office like, hey, well, Luka was 270 pounds. Who cares if I'm 280? I want my max money. Y'all can't be running the owners like that. The NBA is going to end up, and it's already down in ratings. So we can't have you all dictating to us what you're going to do. So we have to save face. So I believe that was out there. But I will say this: let's look at back to the trade. One of your largest markets is L.A. Your other large market is Texas. Who's bringing the news? Dallas
That's-
and Los Angeles. That's news already.
yeah.
Miles Garrett, you coming out of Cleveland. Miles, the media had to tie, and I saw it too. The media had to tie Miles Garrett's attempt for a trade with him doing a thing on his own social media saying he would love to come to Dallas. He might
Yeah.
not even want to come to Dallas, but you have to press the market in that manner to push the clicks, because you making that news coming out of Cleveland is no noise.
Right.
So then, what does the NBA do? And I don't think this had anything to do with Miles Garrett. The NBA waits till later on in the week, and you get one of its minor markets in Miami, but it's still a marketable market. And you trade a guy who's been making a whole lot of noise to the third most lucrative franchise in sports in America, Golden State. So the NBA is doing its job, most definitely, to try and strategically, we're going to ride this wave of sports, because we know this is it. We have to give you all something to see, because football is over for 5 months.
As far as on the field, yeah, but
Sunday night.
football, the NFL does a great job of
We do not want
staying in
NFL
the public
off
eye.
season. We do not want NFL off season news to outdo us. You got to do that. Now, I want to go back to my point. Greatest blockbuster trades of all time,
Just in general, like regardless of sport.
regardless of sport. And this one hit hard. This one hit pretty hard.
Well, obviously
Or even
the Her-
acquisition.
obviously the Herschel Walker trade, the Great Train Robbery, and
I think that's gonna always be number one.
yeah, and another one that was very similar, but it did not yield the results at all. The Halloween trade for Eric Dickerson from the Rams to the Colts, because unlike the Cowboys, who got a haul of players and draft picks, and they did a much better job of hitting on those draft picks, the Rams, they didn't hit on jack with their trades. The only thing that happened for them was Greg Bell ran for 1,000 yards. But I think that was a huge deal, man, because it came out of nowhere.
I'm gonna go. Herschel is number one, and
yeah,
Herschel is that deal.
yeah, yeah.
I believe I got two in my era, because I believe Philly to I wasn't born, but I do believe people are going to say Wilt Chamberlain from Philadelphia to LA was major, and I'll agree with that. But I'm going to go Kevin Garnett leaving Minnesota to Boston, which started the big three. But my quiet mouse that makes up for the Indianapolis to Rams trade that you just said with Eric Dickerson is the Marshall Faulk trade from Indianapolis to the Rams, which got them the Edgerrin James pick in Indianapolis, and everybody was happy.
Yeah. That doesn't happen much. That very rarely happens.
That is everybody happy. You can do a trade up, Kobe. Everybody wasn't happy. You can do a trade up, Scottie Pippen, Seattle. Everybody wasn't happy. That Marshall Faulk to the Rams, like for Edgerrin James pick, and you got paid like that.
Yeah, but and when you look at it, it's almost one of those things where you say, why would you trade a guy who? Yeah, it's like you say, why would you trade the best all-around running back in league history? I mean, you look at it and he goes there and it's like him and Peyton. You had him, you had Peyton, you had Harrison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marvel.
you had Harrison. You had a trio. You were getting Wayne. I mean, it's like, what did you see?
It looked ridiculous.
Yeah. But then you get Edgerrin comes in there and he goes back to back 15.
And Marshall Faulk
Goes on, wins a championship that same year and goes
who was
1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving.
quarterback that got hurt, that got Kurt Warner in.
Trent Green.
Trent Green, like you gotta, woo, like stars align on that one, and that one goes because of the great train robbery. That one goes under, but that was like everybody was happy because you're saying to yourself, man, you trying to tell me Marshall Faulk could have been in a lineup with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne?
Reggie Wayne
But he
and Ken
ended up in
Dilger.
a lineup with Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, and Isaac Brooks.
and Orlando Pace blocking for him.
It has Orlando Pace blocking for him. It has Orlando Pace blocking for him.
And now another thing, as far as that trade, it gets brought to the draft. And I just think because they were trying to decide on Edgerrin or Ricky Williams. Now, what if Ricky had gone there? Would he still have been? Would it have been the same thing, or would he have somehow gotten it together to fulfill the potential that they had?
Dynamic. I think in that dynamic, Ricky might have been. See, I think what put Edgerrin over the top was we're losing our pass catching back for this power back. We're getting everything we want out of Edgerrin that we had in Marshall out of a running back. I mean, but we're not getting everything out of Ricky when you come to the passing game. So
yeah,
I don't want to lose that, and I believe that was because you understand. You know the dynamic of what Peyton is.
Yeah.
And who's to say it might have just got Marvin and Reggie more catches or Dallas Clark. So
that would have been interesting just to see, and plus Ricky wasn't much for pass pro.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, Ricky wasn't much for pass pro, but Edgerrin, he was a 3-down guy. He could do all three phases: run, catch, and block.
And I'm talking about for a while there, and this is so crazy to say, but for a while there, they had edge over Marshall. You know, because of the dynamics of that offense. That offense was offense.
Yeah, you come in and do back-to-back 1,500. Yeah, they're gonna look at you like, okay, yeah, you special.
You special. You special. So that one right there is like my I don't that one goes under the radar because
I think
it was that was a great. I'm a Miami fan and like
yeah. I think the reason why it doesn't get talked about as much is because, like you said, everybody was happy. They both won. Usually somebody gets shafted. Yeah, usually somebody gets short end of the stick.
That's
Minnesota did. Yeah,
that's a valid point.
Yeah.
If one of the two would have got shafted, then it becomes. You're right. You're right. I'll agree with that. I will totally agree with that assessment, Tank. No one got shafted. What is there to talk about? And now that might be it, man. That might be it. You wanna do some picks?
Yep, you go first.
You know what? I don't even know why it's taking me so long. Kansas City. I just
yeah.
I love your win. I not even my. It's not even. I have to take off my fan hat. I can't take it off. I'm just not gonna be rooting for Philadelphia. No. No.
Yeah.
I like Saquon.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think
Kansas City used to be the Texans.
Yeah. What gets me is this game or this match and where everybody's talking. It just tells you how great. I don't care if people can say that people cheat for them or whatever. I don't give a damn. This game tells you how great Mahomes is, because the Eagles, man for man, with the exception of tight end and quarterback, the Eagles are better across the board. But the reason why people are saying they are picking the Chiefs, the people that are picking the Chiefs are picking the Chiefs, not just because of Andy Reid, but because of Mahomes. Like Mahomes, it's like it's the Eagles versus Mahomes. That's the way it's shaping up, and how they're saying, hey, can the Eagles beat Mahomes? It's not even, hey, can they beat the Chiefs? Can the Eagles beat Mahomes? Nobody's saying, or people who are picking the Chiefs, hey, man, they got Mahomes. They're going to win. And like we said last show, that's why quarterback is the single most important and glamorous position in all of sports, and it's particularly in team sports. And that being said, because it makes no sense to pick a superior team to lose to a guy who's on the trek, or who's on target to be the greatest quarterback ever. I got the Chiefs. One, because I just want to see a three-peat. I want to see history. Two, if they're within 14 points and it's 7 minutes left, if they're down by 14 and there's 7 minutes left, we going into overtime, or the Chiefs gonna win in the winning second, like they did last year.
Galactus is a bad man.
Not Galactus, yeah, you're right, because he eating the whole universe. I mean,
that boy, hey, even if he take the L, you gonna have to fight to get that L. It's like you have to fight to get that W, man.
That's gonna be. I'm expecting a good game, and it's funny. I'm expecting to see the Eagles play a good game, and I'm expecting to see Mahomes play a good game. I'm not even looking at the team sheet. I'm just looking. You're looking at Mahomes.
Yeah, that's why it's not. That's why I feel like, from an analysis standpoint, the Eagles have a great defense. Eagles got some weapons on offense.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable not rooting for them, because
Colossus on the other side.
Galactus on the other side, and he got the Silver Surfer. Still got a little something to him. Got a new little Silver Surfer. And that boy bad, man. You know. So what we're gonna do is, I think that might be that pick, unless you just had some last words. But I was just saying, I'm good with my pick being my last. Unless you got something to tell the world.
Yeah, man, you just lost me. I lost it, and it had to do with the Chiefs, I think.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember, what was it? Because while you were talking, I was saying, okay, this will be my last words. It slipped my mind. Then I'm gonna wake up at 3 a.m. and be like, "This what it was." Yeah, I'm expecting it. Huh?
Do it shorter.
yeah. But I'm expecting a good game. And shit. Here we go. This is how we look at in football, in the NFL. You winning the Super Bowl and losing the Super Bowl. If you win, for whatever reason, obviously, okay, you're the greatest thing ever. But if you lose, you are the worst team ever, because how did you lose the Super Bowl? And what I'm really getting at is Mahomes is 3-1 in Super Bowls, right? If he wins, he's 4-1. Okay, he definitely top two. He just won 3 in a row. But just think, if he loses, the numbers wise, it's only one game, but it goes from 4-1 to 3-2. And people will look at it a little different, because you barely over 500. 3-2. It's just like 10-6 and 8-8 before the number games changed. It looked like it seems like a big gap. Just when you think of it, just like Tom Brady is one Super Bowl loss away from being, what was he, 6-3, from being 5-4. 5-4, is he still considered to be oh man, he's so great in Super Bowls where you
You're going into that LeBron area.
yeah. It's like this one game could possibly shift in a sense how we look at Mahomes depending on how the rest of his career plays out. Because man, shoot, man, he just won. He 3-2. That ain't great.
Here's
That's the way we look at it in sports
here's
for
what you're
whatever
gonna have to
reason.
do for him. If he goes 3-2, here's what you're gonna have to do. Now you're gonna have to start getting contextual with him,
Yeah.
just like you would have to do with Tom Brady. And
Yeah.
you say Tom Brady went 5-4, you still gonna be like, but Tom Brady got a undefeated season, and he got a back-to-back. Mahomes will still have a back-to-back,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start throwing those numbers. So it's to your point. It's going to be if he goes 3-2, and with him still having all those years left, because he still has
Yeah.
all those years left to
Yeah.
be. Oh,
Right. Right.
so you're going to have to contextualize him.
Yeah. It's
You
just
know,
it's just
before you,
crazy. One game for him or for Brady tilts the narrative just a little bit when you talk about, hey, well, he was all right in big games because he finished one game more than what he lost, which it's great because you look at how many he went to in the first place. Like you said, it'll have to be contextualized. That was my thing. It just hit me today. It worked.
I will say this. I will say this for the young man. I
He
guarantee you.
ain't 30 yet.
I will exactly. I will say this for the young man. I guarantee you, he is the type of competitor that's thinking about that 4-1 versus 3-2, and he in the film room going over every inch of how. Because on the football field when they're playing, that is exactly the difference between 3-2
Mm-hmm.
and 4-1 inches.
Yep.
So I bet you he's looking at every angle and had everybody. Hey, we going in. We coming in at 8 o'clock tonight. For real. Go party early. Party last week.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you doing that. But at any rate, that's been a great show. And this has been No Jazz, not just another sports show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, comment, share. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show with the S on show and the S on jazz. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at noj.a.s.s and No Jazz Show on TikTok. It's been wonderful. I hope everyone has a happy and safe Super Bowl weekend. We know you're going to be enjoying yourselves at the parties. Alcohol gonna be out. I don't think anybody's going to be doing anything with eggs. But
It might not be wings either. It's high there. It might be having buffalo drumsticks.
I might be having just some buffalo drumsticks. So, having said all that, Tank, do your favorite salute if you want to salute. We are
Holla.
out of here. See you Sunday after the Super Bowl. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at noj.a.s.s. Follow us on Facebook on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.